I'm gonna give you two things that I want you to do. If you do these two things, it will transform your life. I'm a motivational speaker when I'm not doing this, and the reason I do really well as a motivational speaker because I know what I'm talking about. You know, you looking at somebody been at the bottom before. So I'm not like some rich dude whose mama and them had some money and gave me some money. Now I'm telling y'all how to get over. No, I'm gonna tell you how to get over because I've been under. I'm gonna tell you how to get up because I've been down. I'm gonna tell you how to finish because I got off to a bad start. Now I'm about to tell you two things. Now listen to me. What I'm about to tell you, this is for spiritual people only. If you're not a spiritual person, this ain't for you. If you don't believe in God, this ain't finna do nothing for you. But I ain't know you was coming, so I have no other version. This is only people who have a faith. You ain't got to be no like born again Christian or nothing like that. You got to know that God is God.
And when you finally look around at where you are and where I'm at, you realize that you have nothing left to talk smack about. That you will lose and I will win.
After I could have dealt with the car. I could have dealt with the house. You have got to make some decisions in your life, but you got to tie it to this gift. Your gift is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your God-given gift. He didn't hide it from you. He didn't put it under the rocks. He didn't hide it in the ocean. You don't need no map to find it. God put it right here when he made you. All y'all are gifted at something. The Bible says your gift will make room for you and put you in the presence of great men. That's a scripture. That ain't a theory of mine. See, I ain't got one gift. I have the ability to take information and transpose it into comedy immediately. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to, it's just, you've seen people who open their mouth and they just sing. They can just sing. And I don't care how hard you rehearse, you can't sing like that. You have control of this.
Idea isn't going to execute itself. That book isn't going to write itself. Those weights out in the gym, they aren't going to move themselves. You have to do it. And you have to do it now. Don't wait anymore. Don't think anymore. Don't plan anymore. Don't contemplate anymore. Don't make any more excuses or justifications. Don't rationalize anything else. No, take the risk, take the gamble, take the first step, take action now.
The only thing you do for success, there's no discounts. It's sweat, it's blood, it's tears. You can't get 50% off. It's sweat, it's blood, it's tears. There are no shortcuts to success. Stop thinking they are. And stop wanting people to put you somewhere that you didn't earn. I dare you to try to shortcut success. It's not going to happen. You can't go around it. You can't go under it. You can't go over it. The only way you can get to it is through it.
Hold yourself responsible for a higher standard than anybody else expects of you. Never excuse yourself.
Don't fool yourself into thinking that this year is going to be better than last year if you're still making excuses. There are no excuses. You cannot cheat success. You got to work for it. You got to breathe it. You got to sleep it. You got to eat it. You got to put forth 120%. When you go out there, I need you to have that dog. When you get out there, I need you kill or be killed when you get out there. When you get out there, whatever you can get, go get it. Because they going to get it before you get it. And they ain't going to give it to you. So you go out there and get what's yours. Because there's somebody out there who wants your spot. You're not the only one trying to go to Yale. You're not the only one trying to go to Harvard. You're not the only one trying to go to the NBA. You're not the only one trying to go to the NFL. And so you got to embody excellence. It only takes one extra push-up. It only takes one extra mile. It only takes one extra grade. It only takes one extra effort. It only takes one extra something to get you to where you're trying to get to.
You don't have time to worry about anybody else's course because it's going to take all of your energy, all of your intensity, all of your fervency to keep yourself on track.
That's why it's important for you to work on yourself, listening to tapes, building yourself up, talking to yourself with power, feeling, and conviction, day in and day out. You've got to focus on you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself every day, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job. to achieve a certain objective.
If you understand that, I can help you from here. I'm going to give you two things that can change your life. It's two scriptures that changed my entire life. It's very simple. The cold thing about what I'm finna tell you is anybody can do it. This is what I'm finna tell you. See, I'm not finna talk to you about no education because I ain't got one. I flunked out of school. I had a severe stuttering problem. I couldn't talk outside my house. I ain't do well in school ever. I ended up flunking out of school. I'm on my third marriage. I lost everything I've owned twice. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. I'm finna tell you what I know. This ain't no fancy rich boy answer, no theories, no, you ain't got to buy no program to do this. You ain't got to go sign up. I'm telling you right now, what I'm finna tell you, if you apply it right now, can change your existence. Because everybody I know want to be happy. Everybody I know want to be successful. If you don't want them two things, there's something wrong with you anyway. So now here, there is a scripture that I'm going to give you. It's a very small scripture. It's very short. I don't even know where it is in the Bible. I'm going to give you two things that I want you to do. If you do these two things, it will transform your life. I'm a motivational speaker when I'm not doing this, and the reason I do really well as a motivational speaker, because I know what I'm talking about. You know, you looking at somebody been at the bottom before. So I'm
How much did they first pay you to give up on your dreams? And when were you going to stop and come back and do what makes you happy? You know why kids love athletes? Kids love athletes because they follow their dreams. I see guys who work at the same company for their entire lives. They clock in, they clock out, and they never have a moment of happiness. You have an opportunity.
Money's not everything. It's really not. And money can't make you happy. Money don't make you happy. I know a lot of miserable people with money. It's not money that makes you happy. It don't. It don't make you happy, but it'll park you right in front of Happy's house. And you can at least see if you stay there. I recommend money. I'm gonna give you two things that I want you to do. If you do these two things, it will transform your life. I'm a motivational speaker when I'm not doing this, and the reason I do really well as a motivational speaker, because I know what I'm talking about. You know, you looking at somebody been at the bottom before. So I'm not like some rich dude whose mama and them had some money and gave me some money. Now I'm telling y'all how to get over. No, I'm gonna tell you how to get over because I've been under. I'm gonna tell you how to get up because I've been down. I'm gonna tell you how to finish because I got off to a bad start. Now I'm about to tell you two things. Now listen to me. What I'm about to tell you, this is for spiritual people only. If you're not a spiritual person, this ain't for you. If you don't believe in God, this ain't finna do nothing for you. But I didn't know you was coming, so I have no other version. This is only people who have a faith. You ain't got to be no like born again Christian or nothing like that. You got to know that God is God.
And when you finally look around at where you are and where I'm at, you realize that you have nothing left to talk smack about. That you will lose and I will win.
After I could have dealt with the car. I could have dealt with the house. You have got to make some decisions in your life, but you got to tie it to this gift. Your gift is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your God-given gift. He didn't hide it from you. He didn't put it under the rocks. He didn't hide it in the ocean. You don't need no map to find it. God put it right here when he made you. All y'all are gifted at something. The Bible says your gift will make room for you and put you in the presence of great men. That's a scripture. That ain't a theory of mine. See, I ain't got but one gift. I have the ability to take information and transpose it into comedy immediately. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to, it's just, you've seen people who open their mouth and they just sing. They can just sing. And I don't care how hard you rehearse, you can't sing like that. You have control of this.
Idea isn't going to execute itself. That book isn't going to write itself. Those weights out in the gym, they aren't going to move themselves. You have to do it. And you have to do it now. Don't wait anymore. Don't think anymore. Don't plan anymore. Don't contemplate anymore. Don't make any more excuses or justifications. Don't rationalize anything else. No, take the risk, take the gamble, take the first step, take action now.
The only thing you do for success, there's no discounts. It's sweat, it's blood, it's tears. You can't get 50% off. It's sweat, it's blood, it's tears. There are no shortcuts to success. Stop thinking they are. And stop wanting people to put you somewhere that you didn't earn. I dare you to try to shortcut success. It's not going to happen. You can't go around it. You can't go under it. You can't go over it. The only way you can get to it is through it.
Hold yourself responsible for a higher standard than anybody else expects of you. Never excuse yourself.
Don't fool yourself into thinking that this year is going to be better than last year if you're still making excuses. There are no excuses. You cannot cheat success. You got to work for it. You got to breathe it. You got to sleep it. You got to eat it. You got to put forth 120%. When you go out there, I need you to have that dog. When you get out there, I need you killed to be killed when you get out there. When you get out there, whatever you can get, go get it. Because they going to get it before you get it. And they ain't going to give it to you. So you go out there and get what's yours. Because there's somebody out there who wants your spot. You're not the only one trying to go to Yale. You're not the only one trying to go to Harvard. You're not the only one trying to go to the NBA. You're not the only one trying to go to the NFL. And so you got to embody excellence. It only take one extra push-up. It only take one extra mile. It only take one extra grade. It only takes one extra effort. It only takes one extra something to get you to where you're trying to get to.
You don't have time to worry about anybody else's course because it's going to take all of your energy, all of your intensity, all of your fervency to keep yourself on track.
That's why it's important for you to work on yourself, listening to tapes, building yourself up, talking to yourself with power, feeling, and conviction. Day in and day out, you got to focus on you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself every day, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job, to achieve a certain objective.
If you understand that, I can help you from here. I'm going to give you two things that can change your life. It's two scriptures that changed my entire life. It's very simple. The cool thing about what I'm finna tell you is anybody can do it. This is what I'm finna tell you. See, I'm not finna talk to you about no education because I ain't got one. I flunked out of school. I had a severe stuttering problem. I couldn't talk outside my house. I didn't do well in school ever. I ended up flunking out of school. I'm on my third marriage. I lost everything I've owned twice. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. I'm finna tell you what I know. This ain't no fancy rich boy answer, no theories, no number. You ain't got to buy no program to do this. You ain't got to go sign up. I'm telling you right now, what I'm finna tell you, if you apply it right now, can change your existence. Because everybody I know want to be happy. Everybody I know want to be successful. If you don't want them two things, there's something wrong with you anyway. So now here, there is a scripture that I'm going to give you. It's a very small scripture. It's very short. I don't even know where it is in the Bible. Somebody probably know it if I say it, but I'm going to give it to you. This scripture changed my life. You have not because you ask not. You make some decisions in your life, but you got to tie it to this gift. Your gift is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your God-given gift. He didn't hide it from you. He didn't put it under the rocks. He didn't hide it in the ocean. You don't need no map to find it. God put it right here when he made you. All y'all are gifted at something. The Bible says your gift will make room for you and put you in the presence of great men. That's a scripture. That ain't a theory of mine. See, I ain't got but one gift. I have the ability to take information and transpose it into comedy immediately. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to, it's just, you've seen people who open their mouth and they just sing. They can just sing. And I don't care how hard you rehearse, you can't sing like that. You have control of this. This belongs to you. This is yours. You're the captain. You're the master. You're the foreman. You're the general. You're the head. Don't give control of this to nobody. Do not let Satan come in here and function and operate, because he has one mission: to keep you off course, to make you not think it's possible.
A new outfit doesn't make you a new person. And if you think you are magically going to be a new person, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, because new life comes from a new mind and a new way of looking at your life.
Keep your dreams phenomenal. Keep your vision phenomenal. And now I need you to get your weight up. I need you to get your schedule up. I need you to get your life up. I need you to get your action up. I need you to get to a place that every single thing that you do is phenomenal, so that the life you want to live, you can actually live that life.
How much did they first pay you to give up on your dreams? And when were you going to stop and come back and do what makes you happy? You know why kids love athletes? Kids love athletes because they follow their dreams. I see guys who work at the same company for their entire lives. They clock in, they clock out, and they never have a moment of happiness. You have an opportunity.
Money's not everything. It's really not. And money can't make you happy. Money don't make you happy. I know a lot of miserable people with money. It's not money that makes you happy. It don't. It don't make you happy, but it'll park you right in front of Happy's house. And you can at least see if the stay there. I recommend money. I highly recommend it. And anybody that told you that money different about money is because they don't have none. But you got to quit listening to people that ain't got money tell you about money. Money, the root of all evil and all that shit. You do evil stuff with money, but if you're a good person, you can do good stuff with money. You know, people say that money changes people. It really doesn't. You know what I learned about money? Money don't change people. Money allows you to be more of who you really are. See, if you're a kind person, when you get a lot of money, you become a kinder person. If you're when you get a lot of money, you become a big hole. Money, it allows you to amplify whoever you really are. That's why when you see rich people acting like it's because they always been one. They always been hole. They just had the money to flex on to show it to you. That's all it is. But you let they get some money. They finna show your something. And that's it. If you see a person that's cool with money, it's because he always been cool. That's what I recommend money, but it's all right. I'm gonna do this real quick. I was gonna show you a real simple thing I figured out a long time ago. Before I go today, I'm gonna share it with you. I'm gonna show you the simple way to become a millionaire.
People ask me all the time, what does it take to be happy? And I always tell them it's really simple. One word, progress. Progress equals happiness. If you keep growing, you're going to feel alive. And if you keep growing, you're going to have more to give. It doesn't matter how many statues, Oscars they give you, or Emmys, or how much money you have in the bank. We've all seen people have all those things, and I get the phone call because they're depressed, or somebody commits suicide in that area. It's really an inner game, and I think that's what's missing for us today. Everybody's focusing on the outside world, and how there's a lot of things in the outside world you'll never be able to control. You can influence, but you can't control it. This, your mind, your emotions, your body, you have 100% control over what you do with these things, and that's where the game is won. Win the inner game, then you win the outer game. But a lot of people spent their life trying to win the outer game, they won, and they're miserable.
You can't push yourself forward if all you're thinking about is the doubts and the negative things that people are saying, because you're relying more on their ideas and their dreams of you instead of you relying on your own dreams and ideas of yourself. Why would you want to surround yourself with people that don't have ideas that are great Why would you want to surround yourself? Because of a number you know, a lot of people tend to wonder, oh, how many friends they have, and how many people in their corner. I have 1 million followers. I have tens and thousands and thousands and thousands of people that support me. How many of those people do you actually know? Do you realize the power that you have right now? Even the people that don't like you, they are drawn to you, they see you. But they don't see your greatness. They don't see what you truly have inside.
This is a rebirth.
Life has a way of pushing our dreams down. They can become buried under discouragement, buried under past mistakes. There are dreams buried under divorce, buried under low self-esteem. It's easy to settle for mediocrity, even though we have all this potential buried on the inside. All of us have things that we're believing for, something that we want to accomplish. Deep down, we know it's a part of our destiny. We can feel it so strongly, but then we hit some setbacks. We didn't get the promotion. The medical report wasn't good, or a relationship didn't work out. Now, don't let circumstances talk you out of it. You may not understand why a business didn't make it, why a person walked away, why you came down with an illness. You were doing the right thing, but the wrong thing happened. It's all a part of the process. Your dream may be buried. The good news is it's still alive. It's not too late to see it come to pass. If you'll do your part and start believing again, get your passion back, it is on the way. Go back and try again. The true mark of a champion is, even though some dirt gets thrown on your dream, instead of letting it get buried, you keep shaking it off. You keep moving forward. You keep looking for new opportunities. If you're going to reach your highest potential, you have to make up your mind that you are in it for the long haul. You're not going to let people talk you out of it. Circumstances discourage you. Delays cause you to give up. Critical people cause you to get distracted. You're going to stay focused on your goal.
Well, I'm going to show you. It's a really simple way. And it's so true. It's very simple. You just have to understand that it's possible for you. What stops most people from becoming successful is you have something in you that tells you it's not for you. But it's for everybody who wants it. God will give you the desires of your heart. He loves you. If you ask your child, if your child asks you for the latest sneaker, you're going to try to get it for him. If he at the school trying to make a field trip, you're going to try to send it. If he need a computer for a class, you're going to try to get this computer for your child. Because he your child. Well, we all got the same Heavenly Father. We his children. When you ask him for something, you don't think he want to give it to you? But you have not because you ask not. Most people don't even ask God for the right stuff. Keep wasting God's time with all these little bitty requests. You're talking to God. Why you keep going to God with this little stuff? Lord, help me make my rent. Don't he always? Why don't you ask for a mortgage? You're talking to God, man. This is the same dude that made heaven and earth in 6 days. Go to the new car section. You're talking to God. You could asking God for little stuff. God don't care nothing about no used car. You want a used car, he'll give you a used car. Ask for a new car. You gonna ask God for $500? Might as well ask him for 50 grand. It's really simple. I'm telling you, man, I figured it out. I ain't smart. I ain't got no education. I ain't got no degree of any kind whatsoever. Graduated with a high school diploma. Graduating class was 695 people. I graduated 690. You know, when you do the thing that you're born to do, there's nothing else you could have done. There's nothing else I could have possibly done. I was born to do this. God gave me this gift. You've got to discover your God-given gift. Your gift is the thing you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. As soon as you discover that, your life changes.
You got to let these things affect you. Enjoy that part of your life. Fashion it and enjoy it. Take an hour, take a couple of hours, take an evening, and go soak up the symphony, soak up the music. And when you do this with family, with culture, lifestyle, Here's what happens. Number one, you can enjoy it. It's a spendable commodity. But here's the most exciting part of all. The feelings you get from here. The coin, the currency, the worth and the value you get from fashioning a happy life, fashioning a conversation with a child, fashioning a love experience.
You came to deliver something that we're supposed to have. We got to find out what that is. You're not a mistake. You are not a biological accident. Fourth question everybody must answer is, what can I do? What is my true ability? And this is a tough question because most of the people are living below their true potential. You don't know what you're capable of. Why? Because we have accepted other people's opinions of our own ability. We've allowed people and culture and society to tell us what we can and cannot do. I was a victim of that. They tell you how far you can go, what you cannot do, what's never been done. And you can't do that here. They muffle your true ability. What can you do is the question. And the fifth question, write it down, is where am I going? Where are you going into your life? Where will you be in the next 10 years? What do you see for the next 50 years of your life? What do you want to do with yourself in the next 40 years?
Don't become a victim of yourself. It's possible to become a victim of tragedy. It's possible to become a victim of gossip. It's possible to become a victim of the things that happen out there. But here's the most important thing. Don't become a victim of yourself. Forget the thief in the alley that's after your purse. What about the thief in your mind that's after your promise? The thief in your mind that says you're too short. The thief in your mind that says you're too tall. The thief in your mind that says, well, yes, it'll happen to people out in California, but it can't happen way over here on this side of the world. I'm asking you to conquer that thief, even though you fight him in your own consciousness. I want to reassure you that you can do it. I want you to reassure you that you can make the decisions. I want to reassure you that no matter what the night, no matter what the storm, no matter what the difficulty, there isn't anybody here that can't figure it out fine. Find some things to do step at a time, yes, minute at a time, yes, day at a time, yes, week at a time, yes.
It's endless in a way. It becomes endless, this path of how much you can grow. Because you simply just take yourself as that one person that you try to improve. And at the same time, because now it's yourself that you are taking as this idol and as the best version comparison, this also means you have a much deeper insight into the person that you're comparing yourself with. Because before, you saw the physical abilities and you saw the skills of another person, but sometimes you didn't see their character. But now, because it is yourself that you are facing with, now you can dive much deeper into what you are actually made out of.
Lifestyle is simply learning how to live well. Here's the ultimate challenge of life. I've worked on this, you cannot believe how hard, since age 25. And that is to fashion. Good word to jot down, fashion. Fashion for yourself lifestyle, or what we call the good life. That's the ultimate challenge. To take your results, take your money, take your results, take the return, take the equities you've gathered, and now fashion for yourself a good life, like weaving a tapestry.
There isn't anything you can't walk away from. There isn't any challenge you can't overcome. I want you to have that kind of belief in yourself after the long summer, that we've been faithful, we've been disciplined. Then, as one writer said of ancient, script in due time your harvest will come. And I want to give you that promise today. One more time, your day will come. Your harvest is sure, it'll be there for you. And then you'll be able to say bye. Gosh, the hard work has paid off. The lonely nights have paid off. Working hard every day has paid off. I'm asking you to have some faith, have some courage, believe, drive your doubts into a small corner. Don't let them loose like a mad dog, drive you into a small corner. Don't doubt the future. Don't doubt the possibilities. Don't doubt the extraordinary gifts that your distributors bring to your organization. Don't doubt that. And here's the most important one of all, don't doubt yourself.
You were born to do something that the world needs. That's why until you discover your purpose, you can never maximize your potential. I'm going to explain it to you in a few minutes before we go. Your purpose, madam, is the most important thing for you to discover. Because when you find your purpose, you automatically find your potential. And when you find your purpose and potential, you become unstoppable.
In my years of study, I've also discovered this. Reasons come first, and answers come second. Life has a strange way of hiding all the answers and disclosing them only to people who have been inspired to look for them, who have reasons to look for them. Put another way, when you know what you want, and you want it badly enough, you will find ways to get it. The answers, the methods, the solutions will become evident to you. Hey, what if you had to be rich? Are there any books and tapes on the subject? The answer is yes.
If I've got miracle working power to change my life, so do you. If I've got the ability to change, so do you. If I've got the ability to read, so do you. If I can discover, so can you. If I can grow, you can grow. If I can develop, you can develop. If I can get an invitation like I got 6 years ago, help take something around the world, so can you. If I can stand on this platform, Idaho farm boy raising obscurity, so can you. If the millionaire team can do it, president's team can do it, walk off with the diamonds, the trophies, so can you. I'm asking you, don't sell yourself short. You say, well, what can I do about the upcoming winters of my life, the challenges that I know I'm going to face? Here's what you can do. You can get wiser and stronger and better. Just make a list of that trio of words: wiser, stronger, and better. Go home smarter than you came. Go home with more ideas than you came with. Get stronger.
The ultimate challenge of life is to take your results and jot this word down: fashion. Fashion for yourself a good life. Fashion for yourself a good life, like weaving a tapestry. A good life does not happen by accident. My teacher, when I was 25 years old, gave me two phrases, and I want to give you those two phrases as I wrap it up here today. And these phrases helped to change my life. Here's the first one. If you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. If you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. He gave me a little simple formula to consider. A wealth formula. The first 6 years of my life, I wound up broke. First 6 years of my economic life, I wound up broke. Second 6 years of my economic life, I wound up rich. He gave me a whole new economic philosophy. I studied it. I practiced it. I became wealthy.
Everybody in this room wants two things. Everybody wants to be successful, and everybody wants to be happy. I'm going to tell you something about that. That happiness and success is available for every last one of them. But I'm going to tell you what you're going to have to do. You're going to change your mindset. The difference between successful people and non-successful people is right here. It ain't no difference. I ain't got no more than none of y'all got. God gave me the same thing he gave y'all. God loved me the same as he loved all y'all. But you have got to change your mindset. If you think that they're going to mail this money to your house, you're dead wrong about that. If you think they're going to pave the way for you and make it easy, you're dead wrong about that. If you want to be successful, you got to change your mind, and you're going to have some faith.
But because of these failures, because there is something inside of you which feels that you don't want to fail the fourth and fifth and sixth time anymore. Because of this, something else inside of you starts to become very, very strong. We can try in the beginning to remove ourselves a little bit from the wording, because I think everybody who hears the word warrior, he will already have something in the mind what he is considering a warrior to be. We can take any successful person nowadays. I don't think that this person reached his success or reached his position where he is at the moment without having some guiding principles in his lifetime.
But here was the second phrase he gave me. If you wish to be happy, study and practice the art of happy living. Up until then, I had no concept that happiness was a study. My best hope for happiness at age 25 was just to go around with my fingers crossed, hoping something would make me happy. And he said, no, happiness is something you fashion. Happiness is an art. It's not an accident, it's an art. And so I'm asking you to study and practice the art of living a happy life. And start with your family. If you want a happy evening, you have to design it. It's not going to happen by accident. If you want a happy weekend, you've got to design it. You've got to fashion it. You've got to weave it like a tapestry with your own hands, your own ideas.
At age 14, I wrote on paper everything I wanted to be, to do. Today, I am doing those things. And something happened between sleeping on the floor and flying my own jet. What happened is I had a mental transformation. Nothing changes until your mind changes. So my whole life was changed because I fed myself new information from that book, which changed my concept of me. And I discovered that there are 5 questions and everybody must answer to become successful. Question number 1, who am I? It's a tough question. And some of you think you've answered it, but it's not an easy question to answer. Normally when I ask people who you are, they tell me what they do. I didn't ask you what you did. I asked people, who are you? They say, I'm a nurse. I didn't ask you what you did. I want to know, who are you? How do you identify yourself? You shouldn't confuse yourself with your career. Your career is temporary. That means when you lose your job, then you lose your life. Who are you?
Faith comes by hearing good words. Somebody who well chooses their words and delivers them with uniqueness can inspire faith for somebody to believe the most impossible things can be possible, and that excitement of possibilities comes from hearing or reading unique words. One of the best phrases I could give you for the day here is don't be lazy in language. Don't be lazy in language, because the gift of language can create a career. It can help somebody see the way into the future. It can help somebody change from who they are to who they would like to be. It will help you to see the gift of your own intellect. There's an innate vocabulary in all of us that helps us to translate what's going on in the world, what's happening, so that we can make good decisions instead of poor ones. We can make less mistakes this year than we made last.
Don't make too concrete pictures in the mind of how the future should look like. But what all of life's purpose, all of the 24 hours day you do have, is that you can shape the direction of where those goals are going to appear. So it is the direction, in a way, that we are shaping. It starts really with the simple things. Even so that we're in the 21st century and the possibilities of doing and exploring this world are so huge, it doesn't mean that you should freely do what you want at all times. This is not the way of how in the monastery, in the Shaolin temple, we are regarding it as a healthy way of growing. To discover, to explore, to make something from your journey.
Things to pray for is to be gifted in language, because it can have such a dynamic effect on your children. It can have such a dynamic effect on your business. It can have such a dynamic effect on your customers. It can have such a dynamic effect on your business partners. That not to continually get better and better at the gift of language would be a great mistake. Let it open doors. Nothing else will open the gift of your language. Let it help people to see possibilities that they cannot see now. And you join in those possibilities and make another fortune and another fortune, all the way up the ladder as far as you wish to go. price of winning is too high. Wait till you get the bill from regret. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. The price of regret is much heavier than the price of discipline. You never want to wake up one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year down the road and go, shit, man, I wished I would have listened to my gut. I wish I would have done this thing. You don't want to live in regret. If there's something you want to get done, and work your relationships, it's cool, whatever it is, do it. You can have a new year, but it don't mean jack diddly if you don't have a new mind. No more fucking around. You want your life to be better? I can't help you. Only you can help you. Wake yourself up.
In setting goals, it's very simple. Number one, decide what you want. You just take a little time. You sit down and say, what do I want? What kind of skills do I want? What kind of income do I want for the future? Where would I like to go? Places I'd like to visit. Habits I'd like to acquire. Skills I'd like to have. You just take a little time to think about what you want. Economics, friendships, people you'd like to meet, places you'd like to go. You just take some time. And then I suggest when you've thought about what you want for the future, make a list. Just jot it all down. So really a very simple process. Get together with your family, your wife, your husband, your children, your business colleagues, and make it one of the major fundamentals in your life. Constantly setting, rearranging, evaluating, and strengthening the purpose of your goals. Self-confidence. Where does self-confidence come from? And this is the best advice I can give you on that. Not neglecting, first of all, the small daily discipline. Self-confidence really comes from feeling good about yourself. And one of the best ways to feel good about yourself is at the end of the day to know that you poured it on. You did your best. If you conducted a meeting, you did the best you could. If you made a phone call, it was the best phone call you could possibly make. If you wrote a letter, it wasn't a casual letter, it was your best letter. At the end of those kind of days, when you feel good about yourself, self-confidence starts to rise. You know that if you can have this kind of a good day, you can have another one the next day, and those days become the weeks become the months, and the month becomes a powerful year. Self-confidence comes from the lack of neglect. If you will not neglect to do the small daily disciplines.
Means you need to walk. You need to be active. But now the question is, when you look at your 24-hour day, how much of this 24-hour day is it active? And how much of it is it like waiting, sitting, and passively observing?
And Mr. Schiff gave me all kinds of examples on lifestyle. He gave me 2 phrases that helped change my life. In case you have to leave early, let me give you these 2 phrases. It'll be worth the price of coming and being here today. Just take these 2 phrases home, in case you have to leave early. Here's number 1. Schiff said, Mr. Owen, if you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. When he said that, I said, my gosh, I don't know anybody that studies wealth. Where am I going to learn it? He said, never mind, Mr. Owen, now that you've met me, you'll be with me for a while, he said, and if you'll commit yourself, he said, I will teach you. And he taught me. He taught me the books. He taught me the stuff. Changed my life. By the time I was 31, I was a millionaire. The man taught me that. If you wish to be wealthy, well.
If you want a new year and a new life, you don't need to start on January 1st. Start today, right now. What do I really want in depth? What are the rituals that'll get me there? And then get yourself to start a few of those actions and lock them in place. If you make the changes in yourself, you're going to be proud this year. And no amount of money or accolades from other people can mirror the feeling of being proud of knowing you've taken back control of your life. Everything in life is always changing. We don't have to work on change. Change is automatic, but progress is not. So if you want to make real progress, you got to say, I got to take control of this process and not just hope it's going to work out. When you resolve this is how it's going to be, that's when you cut off any possibility, except the thing you've committed to. If you want to take the island, You burn the boats. Cause when you burn those boats, there's no going back. You're going to find a way to make things work. You got to do your best work when you're least motivated.
Kids ought to be taught from the time they're just small what to do with the dollar. If a child has $1 and goes and spends it, right away they've developed the wrong habit. And sure enough, if they continue those poor management habits over the first $1, you can imagine they're probably going to do the same poor things with those same dollars when they get older. The plans we learn when we're small, sure enough, are most often the plans we follow the rest of our lives. What to do with your money and where to put it. We teach in the care and feeding of the goose that lays the golden eggs. You've got to be a happy taxpayer. You've got to make sure some of your money goes into financial institutions so that successful people can borrow it and start other businesses that employ more people. You've got to make sure that you give some of your money for charity. So for charity and for taxes and for savings and for the accumulation of capital, it's very important to have a management plan. When we come to an opportunity like Herbalife, especially multi-level network marketing, it is so dynamic, it is so powerful, and it is so possible in fortune making that sometimes people want to speed up the process by cutting the corners, by neglecting to do the right things, to cheat a little here, cross the line just a little bit, because then, it'll grow faster and you can cash in quicker. Not necessary here. Doing Herbalife right will build your fortune longer and stronger than trying to cut the corners and not doing it right. Vitally important. Building and developing your own character. Here's the next key power, and that's image. There's many parts to image. The image that others see you as, the image you have with other people. And it's very important how other people see you. Mr. Schultz said, Mr. Owen, if you wish to be happy, study happiness. I didn't know happiness was a study. My best hope for happiness at age 25 was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed, hoping somehow something would make me happy. Schultz said, no, Mr. Owen, happiness is not something you postpone. Happiness is not something off in the future. Happiness is something you design. You've got to get the word. Happiness is something you design. Happiness is a study. Happiness is a practice. Happiness is an art. It's not an accident. It's an art. And anybody that wants to can study, practice the art, happy living. Happiness is like culture. Money doesn't make you cultured, but culture is within the grasp of all of us.
Start with those two levels of balancing would already be enough. That simply means maybe you're too active in some parts and maybe you're too passive in other parts. No matter in what you are investing in, every one of us has 24 hours that we can work with. Any other skill that you can develop in this world, any skill must be nourished over and over again. And this is why there is the saying, for example, the real skill, the Kung Fu, what we call Kung Fu. Yeah, it's the skill attained by investing a lot of effort.
There are only at 86,400 seconds in a day, and you got to not only operate in them, you got to do it fast. For some of you, you act as if you have another opportunity. I'm wired differently. Every opportunity is the last opportunity. Every opportunity, I have to reprove myself again. Because the day you become content, the day you stop growing, the day you stop getting better, is the day you die. Be what it is you claim to be about. Be what it is you truly want to be. If you truly want to be successful, if you truly want to change your life, if you truly want to lose 50, 100, 200, 500 * pounds, be about it today. You master the present. And when you get to the point where you start winning the day, then you start winning a week, and then you start winning a month, and then you start winning a year. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You got the bet on you. You believe in everybody else. You clap for everybody else. You support everybody else. But when are you gonna look in the mirror and believe in the damn person you see? It's about time for you to believe in you. because you got it.
Most people try to design tomorrow and next week and next month in their head. They try to just decide what they're going to do. And most people don't even think that far ahead. They think, I have to get up in the morning and go to work, and that's about the extent of it. But a game plan for financial independence, a game plan for your work time, a game plan for your personal time. The family needs a game plan so that you won't miss some of the important things that are helpful to your life and to your success. The kids need a game plan. Mom needs a game plan. Dad needs a game plan. You need a business game plan. You need a game plan for your office. If you're in business, a game plan for your business. A detailed plan for the use of your work time. In the leadership seminar, we talk about how to put together this detailed plan for the day and for the week and for the month. How to stretch out a plan for 6 months and for a year. In doing business around the world, we found that you have to detail the plans in great detail. Otherwise, sure enough, you're going to miss something.
Second question you must answer is, where am I from? Very important question. It's a tough question. As a matter of fact, humans have been trying to answer this question for over 2,000-3,000 years. Today, they have been even attempted to say that you are from monkeys. They talk about evolution, but they try to explain that you came from some big bang that caused some genetic coding in the slime, in the abyss of 6 billion years, and all this stuff they talk about. They're trying to explain where you're from. You see, until you know where you're from, you don't know who you are. What is your source? Where did you come from? It's a very important question. And the third question I have to answer is, why am I here? That's a tough question. Why were you born? Why were you conceived? Why are you on this planet right now? Why did you come to Earth? These are tough questions.
Influence plays a major role in the development of our philosophy. How we think, how we speak, the formulation of ideas, the things we weigh concerning values. All of this is so important. What we know, the mind, thinking, processing ideas and information. Ideas are simply information taking form. Now, we do something very important with what we know. We weigh it. We put it on our mental scales and we weigh it. And I don't know, we may give it a number from 1 to 10. Probably not consciously. But if we hear something and we come into possession of some information and we give it a 10, we'll probably act on it right away. If we give it a 1, we'll probably let it slide. If it's important, we'll do something about it. If we don't think it's important, we'll probably let it go. But it's so important to evaluate. But here's a very important image, and that is your image of yourself. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you think, your capacity for learning. All of that is an important image that you have of yourself. The image that you have that if it needs to be learned, you could learn it. If there's a book that needs to be mastered, you could master it. If there's a skill that needs to be learned, why couldn't you get busy now and learn that skill? That kind of self-image, that I am continually trying my best to be the best I can. Because one of the most important places you have to look is into the future, yes. You got to look into the past, yes. You've got to look around, yes. But one of the most important places you have to look is in the mirror. You know, how I appear to other people, that's important. But how I appear to myself is the ultimate importance. Your philosophy, your attitude, and then your ability to take action. All of that we call the process of life change, miracle working. Consistent self-discipline. Set up a discipline when the emotions are high and the idea is strong and clear and powerful. That's the time to set up the discipline. Somebody talks about good health and you're stirred. Say, right, I need to get a book on nutrition. Get the book before the idea passes and before the emotion gets cold. Go for the book. Start the library. Start the process. Fall on the floor. Do some push-ups. Action. Got to take action. Otherwise, the wisdom is wasted. Otherwise, the emotion soon passes. Unless you put it into a disciplined activity. Capture it. Disciplines is called how to capture the emotion and how to capture the wisdom and translate it into equity. Disciplines.
You start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to get an apple. Get an apple, it'll inspire you to get a book. Get a book, it'll inspire you to get a journal. Get a journal, it'll inspire you to grow, develop some skills. All disciplines affect each other.
When you become 18, when you move out of the house, when you're an adult, you have to parent yourself. Unless you understand that you've got to parent yourself. You got to push yourself. You're not going to make your dreams come true. What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you? Nobody, has actually created success without working their face off. It doesn't exist. So you can sit and talk about luck. And you can sit and talk about this, that, or the other thing. But I promise you, the only controllable thing you have is your work ethic. Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself.
I have some millionaire friends who keep working 10 to 12 hours a day, making more million. And it's not because they need the money. It's because of joy, pleasure, and satisfaction that come to them from being constant winners. To them, money is not their main drive. It's not the money. It's the journey. Once in a while, someone says to me, if I had $1 million, I'd never work another day in my life. Hey, that's probably why the good Lord sees to it that he doesn't get his million. Because he just quit. Family is another reason, or motivator for doing well. Some people do extremely well because of other people. And that's a powerful reason. Sometimes we will do things for someone else that we would not do for ourselves. We are made that way.
You can start off easily nowadays to try and become famous very quickly, try to build up a very high level lifestyle. But the question ultimately is, all these things, one day, they will reach their peak and they will vanish again. And then the question remains, what is the foundation that is going to hold you up? Because sometimes living a fast way up also means it's going to be a fast way down. That's why very often we say, just look outside the tree. It does not happen in the whole universe that you are planting this tree on one day and 1 week after you have that huge tree standing in front of you. It's just not happening in this world.
A key word we learn in leadership skill training, perception. Trying to find value in something. Where is the value? How valuable is it? How important is it? Is there something here that I can't see at first glance? Is there something below the surface? Is there something in the inner workings of it? What goes behind it? What goes beyond it? What is its origin? All of these questions that help us come to the perception of value, ideas, evaluating information. Now, here's what's important to have a good set of mental scales. What if in processing information your mental scales were off? And you weighed everything a little wrong? Do you think that would affect your life? The answer is, of course. And all you got to be is a little off for 10 years. And you can imagine what the difference is. I got a key phrase for you. Life accumulates. We either accumulate the debt or the value. We either accumulate the regret or we accumulate the equity. Setting goals is a very important part of our life process. Guess how many people have a constant plan for setting, rearranging, evaluating, and strengthening the purpose of their goal? The answer is very few. In fact, if you will do this, you will become among the few who do, that become the envy of all who watch. In the leadership seminar, we came up with a whole 10-year plan of goal setting, business goals and personal goals, family goals, economic goals, financial independence. It's a basic fundamental. In fact, if you will work hard on setting goals, put together a plan for setting goals, reevaluate them, rearrange them, constantly talk about them, go over them again and again, I tell you what this process will do, in my personal opinion. It'll put you in what's known as the top 5%. And if you want to be successful, if you want your life to really change in major ways, this is one of the fundamentals. A person who has purpose in their life, they have something to go for, some meaning. One writer described it, for some people, it becomes a magnificent obsession. And for you and I, maybe it doesn't need to be that dramatic as a magnificent obsession. But it has to be something that does something to us, something that pulls us, especially into the future. You know, there are many influences on us. One is the influence of the past. Some people are always pulled back by the past. Some people are always pulled aside by the distractions. But here's what's powerful. If you have a list of high purpose in your life, it pulls you toward the future. And the more powerful the purpose is, the stronger it pulls. Philosophy is simply what you know. Now, to correct a couple of old cliches, what you don't know will hurt you. And to correct another one, ignorance is not bliss. Boy, it's so important to have the correct philosophy. It's so important to know. Philosophy sets the course of your life. Philosophy is simply what you know. So it's important to know. I'm telling the kids these days, make sure you get the information while you're here. I'm talking to the Newport Harbor high school kids in some lectures last year and this year. And my encouragement is, make sure you get all the information while you're here. I know it's laborious. I know it isn't easy to read the books and take the classes and try to get good grades. But hey, while you're here, gather it all up. The book you miss will make a difference, right? The information you don't get will make a difference in the legacy of your equities over the next few months, the next few years. Every new discipline affects the rest. Every new discipline makes a difference. That's why action is so important. The smallest action, the least action, the action that you won't think will matter, it all matters. Take it. Because when you start accomplishing and the value starts to return, you'll find inspiration to do the next one and the next one and the next one. But for this whole process to work for us, we must first master the art of discipline, self-discipline, consistent self-discipline. It doesn't really matter how smart you are or how much you know if you don't use it. It doesn't really matter that you graduated magna cum laude if you're stuck in a low-paying job. It doesn't really matter if you attended every seminar that comes to town if you don't apply what you've learned. They need no guarantees. They don't need to be taken care of. All they need is an open door, a ladder to climb, a place to start, somebody to give them a chance, and away they go. And I think we've had it so easy. Not only can a well-fashioned lifestyle experience be enjoyed, here's the powerful part. It can be invested. If you fashion this well, love affair, marriage, culture, evening, weekend, all of this good stuff now, that inspires you now to read, study, and grow, develop your philosophy, strengthen your attitude, pick up the disciplines. This whole cycle, I'm telling you, there's nothing like it once you understand how to live this way.
Every single person in the world who's successful shows up to work saying, I wonder when they'll find out. I don't really know what I'm doing. And you know why? Because anyone who says they're pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. I put myself constantly in situations that I'm not comfortable because there's no way to grow. Do you do the same thing? Same thing. And here's the thing about it. They got this thing in their mind, the people that are average. I got to prepare. I got to be totally ready. I'm not going to. And these crazy people who actually rule the world, who make all the change, that make all the money, they put themselves in environments constantly they know they're not ready for. And they're like, I will. I'm going to get in the door. Then I'll figure it out.
One of them said to me, Mr. Rohn, how do you build the good life? I said, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Here's how you build anything. Select the right ingredients, keep out the wrong ingredients, and it starts with thought. Everything starts with thought. So you must be wise and careful what you think about, because that starts everything. You got to be wise and careful. I asked the kids, what would happen if somebody dropped sugar in my coffee? They said, will you be okay? I said, what if somebody dropped strychnine in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. Lesson 1. Life is both sugar and strychnine. Our time will be eaten up by others whose demands are stronger than our own. It takes discipline to conquer the nagging voices in our minds. The fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of poverty, the fear of a broken heart. It takes discipline to keep trying when that nagging voice within us brings up the possibility of failure. It takes discipline to admit our errors and recognize our limitations. The voice of the human ego speaks to all of us. Sometimes the voice of ego says that we should magnify our value beyond our results. It leads us to exaggerate, to not be totally honest. It takes discipline to be totally honest, both with ourselves and with others. It takes discipline to change a habit, because habits are formed a little bit each day, every day, every day. Once habits are formed, they act like a giant cable. They act like a nearly unbreakable instinct that only long-term disciplined activity can change. There are plenty of good ones, but if you don't have to be rich, you probably won't read the books or listen to the tapes. What drives us to find the answers is necessity. So work on your reasons first, answer second. Now, what are some of the reasons for doing well? It varies from person to person. I'm sure that if you did a little soul searching, you could come up with a fairly strong list of reasons why you want to accomplish great things. There are personal reasons, sometimes uniquely personal reasons. Some people do well for the recognition. Some do well because of the way it makes them feel. They love the feeling of being a winner. That's one of the best reasons. Here's what he said: become a 2-quarter person. Now, you can tell that was a long time ago, when a quarter was a good tip. Now it takes dollars. But just substitute 1992 dollars for quarters. Show said, hey, if you are thinking 1 quarter or 2 quarters, and you say, well, no, I'll just give him 1 quarter. He said, that'll affect you the rest of the day. The rest of the day, you'll look down, see this great shine, you'll say, I got to be really cheap. 1 lousy quarter, tip for my shine. But he said, if you'll go for the 2 quarters, Shope said, you can't believe the extra happiness you can buy for just an extra quarter. That's called studying and practicing the art of lifestyle, which means living well. Money doesn't make you happy.
You need to fight, to push back, to smash into the ground. I want you to stop crying. I want you to stop begging. I want you to stop complaining. And I want you to look at the man in the mirror. And I want you to say, if ain't nobody else giving more, you give more. Because it doesn't matter what your social status is. It doesn't matter how people perceive you. When it comes down to how long can you stay in that pool, when it comes down to how far can you run, when it comes down to how much can you push yourself past the part where you want to quit, how far can you keep going? There's a purity in that dissolves social order. All that bullshit, all the what people think about you goes out the window. Who are you right now? Who are you right now? No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. The bottom line is, no one's coming.
You know how I got land? I was homeless. And I used to fish all the time. I wasn't fishing playing. I was fishing catching fish because I drive to a rest area because I kept charcoal in my trunk. And when I got to them little grills on the side of the rest area, I'd take my charcoal and I'd fry my fish. But I was always fishing somewhere illegally because I ain't own no lake or nothing. And I catch a string of bass, probably get 6, 7 on there. Hey, what are you doing over here? Get away, get out of here. I pull my string up. Hey, them fish don't belong to you. Let them fish go. I got to take all them fish off the hook and throw it back in the water. He didn't know, man, that I'm trying to eat. But I can't break no law, so I got to go about my business. So first thing I said, told God, I said, when I get me some money, I'm going to buy me a piece of land. Because I just want a piece of land where can't nobody run me off.
You don't want to be the leader. Go ahead and be the armor bearer. I promise you. Armor bearer, you in the same arena that I'm in without the responsibilities that I have. You don't want this life, but if you do want this life, if you do want a phenomenal life, you must have an anchor. One of my anchors is the Sabbath. Like I don't get to make stuff up. It's like, yo, this is my anchor. I'm sticking with it. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Malcolm stuck with it. Malcolm didn't leave until it was like, yo, you out. He was there. He stayed regardless. So one of the things I want you to identify for me while you're here, especially if you're with somebody, what's your anchor? What are your non-negotiables? What are those things that you know? Look, I see dudes, and again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, fellas, but I see dudes who were like, at best, you were average at high school. You were not the most likely to succeed. You weren't necessarily the most likely to be, you know what I'm saying? Like what do they call my man? What is it called? The king and queen of the school. What do they call that? Prom king, prom queen. You wasn't on that trajectory.
What you want. Is it giving you what you want when you look toward the future, when you look at all that's going on out here? Is there someplace within yourself you say, hey, I know I need to be out there in that arena. I know I can do more than what I've been doing. I know there's some great music that I have within me that I haven't brought out here yet. Is that something that you begin to look at within yourself? See, I say if you look at your life, and if you're not getting what you want, you owe it to yourself to do something differently.
So I messed around and got my first piece of money. I got me a check for about $115,000. So first thing I did was Dallas, Texas, said I'm gonna buy me some land. I found a piece of land, I thought it was perfect. Had a fishing lake at the end of it because I love to fish. I said, man, this piece I'm gonna buy right here. Let me talk to somebody. I was with a real estate agent. I said, how much is this? He said, it's $250,000. I can't afford this. So I got about 115. He said, I don't think you're gonna be able to get it for that, but I'll make a call. So he called the guy. The guy said he could take 115 now and I could pay him the rest later. And before I did it, I said, hey man, let me ask you something. How much land is that? He said, oh, that's 6 acres.
But the person that I'm with, they like me like that. The person I'm with is agape. I got here because they was ride or die. You all the way out in the deep of success with no anchor. You about to drown. Because now she looking at you when you looking at yourself like, I do got it going on. No, you don't. Not like that, you don't. Not like that. And again, there's nothing wrong with the fact that you don't got it going on like that. That's a lot of responsibility. I feel sorry for the bros that got that look, that also got 5, 6 kids with 5, 6 different women. I feel sorry for my man because he is that smooth and he keep getting that kind of attention, but he don't got the kind of discipline to be with one person. So now he's screwing up a whole bunch of people's lives. That's a lot of responsibility. I don't want it. My man, tall, dark, bro, have it. Praise God. You walk out, the female, you got it going on everywhere you go. People dropping what a responsibility. Praise God, you can have it.
There are certain things that God specifically have in mind for you and only you for you in your career and your life and lifestyle to get from where it's at to where God is ultimately destined for it to be. You're going to have to shed some excess fat. You're going to have to shed some dead weight. You're going to have to shed a few pounds in people in order for you to ultimately get to where you're destined to be. And it's going to feel lonely. There's not going to be the same jokes. It's not going to feel the same as it does right now. And that's the sacrifice. The depth of your struggle, the depth of your sacrifice will determine the height of your success. The ultimate test of character molding and shaping and sacrifice is to understand that you're supposed to go off and be on your own and do your thing.
Everybody here has had the experience of starting to read about a subject, think about a subject, become interested in a subject, and suddenly you started to attract into your life books, magazines, articles, conversations, people, opportunities to expand on that subject. You had that experience before? What you do is you create a force field, which we cannot explain scientifically, but it is a field of vibration that goes out from you and attracts back into your life everything that you need to realize your dominant goal.
God got great life for you, man. But you're going to have to ask for it. And when you ask for it, you're going to have to believe it. After you believe it, you got to put your work in. Now, if you don't want to do the work that it takes to be successful, this man with his success, if you knew how hard he worked, if you knew the hours he put in, the hours his daddy put in, if you knew what it really took, it's daunting. It's days, man, where you go, whoa, what is this I'm trying to do? But you got to hang in there. See, getting what you want is up to you. How you get there, that's up to God. See, the problem with you is you trying to figure out how to do something. Listen to this. The how-to ain't none of your business. The Bible don't tell you to figure nothing out. It say, ask, believe, and receive. Now, see, you keep going down these churches, they keep telling you this, but you ain't listening. I'm asking you to listen. You can turn your life around if you change your attitude. You change your attitude, you change your altitude.
Come on, are you hearing me? So do me a favor. Before we leave, I need you to know what your anchor is. Because you're watching CJ and I on the outside. You're not watching. Let me tell y'all something. You are connecting with people because of money. That relationship is doomed from the start. It's a disaster. You done went in on some business stuff. Y'all done went in on some money. It's bound to disrupt. It's bound. But if you get with good people who have good intentions, who have a good heart, it's bound to blow up. What's your anchor? I had to get an anchor because I ain't had one. Well, I did have an anchor. My emotions made me make certain decisions and do things that wasn't even healthy for me. I was literally so stupid that I was living in a abandoned building at 16 because I was so emotional. Does that make sense? I just want to make sure y'all caught what I said. I was so emotional, so pissed, so want to do what I want to do, what I wanted to do, that I would prefer to be in a house that didn't have no water. I prefer not to eat on a regular basis. I prefer not to take a shower, to be in my emotions than be rational.
Shine trying to sit on everybody else's sun. Sometimes we have to become our own sun and ultimately end up doing our own thing, embracing the new seasons of our life. Your boat is at capacity. All of us, we all had our test. God gives us our test. It really shows how strong we really are, tests that we don't even know. Maybe losing our parents at a young age. I may be losing somebody that affected our family, whatever it may have been that may have affected us. It may be us for me, a matter of years, that's what has really come to going, overcoming the adversity in life.
I can never be depressed if I never slow down. Speed is extremely important. Speed defies gravity. How does a plane fly through the air and defy gravity? Speed. It's moving too fast to fall. If you're always attacking life, if you're always doing things, if you're always making more money, if you're always traveling the world, doing this, doing that, new car, here, there, new podcast, meeting James English, boom, boom, boom. If you're always doing things all the time, unhappiness can't catch you. But I also know that speed is a fantastic way to be happy all the time. I'm always looking forward to something. I wake up every day excited. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. And I very much live my life in a frame of, no, I have to do this. It's very much I get to do this.
We don't live in the real world. We are living in a reality where we're told stories and narratives that aren't true, where they try very hard to distract us with garbage. Rihanna. I have nothing against Rihanna. I don't know her. But when I see a concert and I see hundreds of thousands of peons standing amongst peons. What are they? Peons. It's the people who go to these concerts. Right. Peon means peasant. Standing because this is an education in language. No, but they are peasants because they're acting in a peasant way. They're acting like peasants. hundreds of thousands of people in a crowd looking up at somebody like they're God, jumping up and down for hours on end. You're a peasant. You're a peasant. And your life's shit, and you have no achievements, no money, you're depressed, but you're distracted.
I am a feared competitor in anything I do. Anyone who's up against me at anything is going to feel a degree of nervousness just because it's me. It doesn't matter what it is. If you say, look, you're going to go learn how to play piano, and you're going to play against someone else who's never played piano, and you're going to learn, and that guy's Andrew Tate. You're going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake. I can't even play piano. But part of them is going to be like, oh, not Tate. Even though I have no piano experience, because they just know me. They know my mindset. They know my determination. They know I'm stubborn. They know I don't quit. They know I'm going to win. That's just who I am. So I've constructed a mental model that allows me to be competent and to always succeed. And that's how I've come to the conclusions I've come to. And I truly, once again, don't understand how people go through the world with any other mental model. I get asked all the time, well, what do you feel? Or what about happiness or depression? That doesn't even... How I feel doesn't cross my mind. I don't know how else to explain it. There are days where I'm pissed off or sad or happy. It doesn't cross my mind. It's just like I woke up, whatever mood I happen to be in, I have things I need to do. It's a busy day. Zuby's here soon. I need to go training before he gets here. I had a meeting with the bank at 7:15 a.m. I have shit to do. Like, I didn't cross my mind if I was happy, sad, excited. I just had to work.
There's very few things in this life we actually have any control over. Let me tell you the fact, the number one facet. With G mindset, your life is never going to be worse. If you walk through the world believing you are the man, you wake up and look in the mirror and go, I am the man. I am the man. There's no one on this planet who can do. I couldn't do if I put my mind to it.
There's another thing that a lot of people make a mistake with when I talk to them, like, I have to go to work today. Change your language. I get to go to work today. Imagine you had no job. Be worse, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't be working. So you get to go to work. I have to fix the car. At least you have a car. You get to fix your car. Most people don't got one. I have to go get the kids. You get to go get the kids because you have these beautiful children who love you. You understand? People's even their own language is wrong. The world can be framed. Maybe I'm completely crazy. Maybe I'm full of shit, like you said. Maybe I am. But the frames I've installed in my mind are all beneficial to me. So if that makes me crazy and full of shit, good. Because I can't become depressed. So you can sit there and tell me I'm full of shit while you're depressed and I'm happy. And I would never want to adopt the thinking of a depressed person.
They've distracted you with this idol, whoever it happens to be. Put them there. And the peasant's like, yeah. And then they go home and they're told something by the news. Let's make up a completely false scenario. Be afraid of the common cold. Okay. And then anyone who comes back and says, why are we afraid of the common cold? They delete their point of view. They shut them up to create a false reality. So people are living a life where they're working a job, they're being enslaved by the machines for their tasks, but their mind is distracted by garbage and only fed a fake story, and they're living inside of a computer-generated simulation. They're living inside of a world that is not real. They don't live in a real world. A lot of people live inside of the matrix completely, especially the people who dislike me.
So I think my mental model, to a degree, I'm certainly not a person who doesn't feel emotions because we're all human. I certainly do. But I've never prioritized them in any regard. I haven't built a mental model that affects, I haven't put them in the middle of my mental model and then affected my actions based on how I feel for each one. It's absolutely and completely the opposite. I would love to do a podcast on a day where I'm particularly sad and a podcast on a day when I'm particularly happy. And I guarantee you, you will tell the difference. So that's what allows me to be competitive, right? Because if you're competitive, if you want to be the most competitive predator on the planet, you have to be able to hunt in the day and the night. You have to be able to do both. You have to be able to perform when you're happy and sad. You can't only be able to perform when you're happy. You can't only go to the gym when you're motivated. You can't only be a competent person when your life's going well, because when your life's not going well, you're no longer competent. Then you're going to lose to people like me. And it's player versus player. If you're the kind of person who can only do well when you're happy and you're competing against someone like me who can do well all the time, guess what? You lose. So my mental model, the answer is most of my opinions are just based around constructing a mental model that allows me to be brutally competitive. It's why I say depression isn't real. I've argued this point endlessly, and I try and explain to people, but they're not smart enough to understand that I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't care. I am more competitive as an individual if I don't believe I can become depressed. So I don't give a fuck if I'm right or wrong, because no matter what bad happens to me in my life, even if, heaven forbid, the worst things on earth that could happen to me, I could never become clinically depressed because I would never self-diagnose myself as clinically depressed because I don't believe in it. I believe that I am currently sad, but I have work to do, and eventually I will feel better.
People will shield laziness with anything. No one wants to admit they're lazy, so they'll shield it with disbelief. That's a scam. Or I don't work hard, I work smart. Bollocks. More cover. For just anything it takes to say, I don't want to work.
Do you believe in that? Work smarter, not harder?
I believe in both.
Yeah.
But there's a time when it comes to work smart. And most people are trying to do the smart work before they do the hard work. It's kind of like talent, right? You don't notice if you're talented at something until all the hard work's done.
Yep.
I could be the most talented tennis player in the world, but I don't play tennis. So if I go down the tennis court, Joe Schmo is going to smoke me. I don't get to see my talent until I've worked so hard that I'm in the top 1%, and now I'm beating them because I have some God-given gift.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You have to do the hard work first. If there's no hard work, there's no smart work. So someone's going to sit there and go, I work smart, I don't work hard, so I only have to work an hour a day. If working smart gets you a lot done in an hour a day, then you should work smart for 12 hours a day and get 12 times the work done.
I will never get to a point of absolute desperation and kill myself because I'm never going to get to a point of hopelessness because I don't believe in the idea of hopelessness. You cannot try and make me adopt thinking that will reduce my competitiveness as an individual. So I don't know if I'm wrong. I don't believe in it. That's it. End of story. So I don't believe in things that take power away from me. I don't believe in things that make me less competitive, and I don't adopt mental models that make me less competitive. Every single mental model I have are the most efficient ones I could find. To the mental model I found that if I adopt, I become a more fearsome predator. That's it. So this is how I've come to all of my conclusions as an individual.
I used to spend the night in hotel parking lots. What was I gonna do? I ain't had nowhere to stay, so I lived in the car. I had $35. And I said, come on, God, man, I've been trying to make this dream come true. You done left me out here like this. And I was crying so hard that he just said, I didn't like hear a voice or nothing, but he spoke to me. And however, he said, if you get up, I'm gonna take you places you ain't never been. Now I was finna quit. So I said, skip it. I'm gonna quit anyway. So I got in my car, I went to a payphone, and I was gonna call my dad. You remember back in the day where you could punch in a code and call your answering machine and get your messages? So I called and I punched in the code, and he said, doop. He said, hey, Steve, this is Chuck Sutton with Showtime at the Apollo. We saw a tape of you. You're very funny. If you could get here Sunday night, we'd love to put you on television. Listen, getting successful, whatever you consider successful, if it's rich, whatever, it's not a magic trick. It's not God picks certain people he'll make rich and certain people he don't. He gives all of us as his children the power of choice. You have a say-so in that. You can decide to be rich. And with God's help, it's highly doable. But you first have to think it. The difference between successful people and non-successful people is here. I'm no better than none of y'all. I'm not a better person than you. I'm not a better Christian than you. God don't love me more than you. None of that. If you want to be successful, you have to change this.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit.
I don't know what the secret of success is, but Here's what I know, what the secret of failure is: trying to please everybody. You can be world class, you can fit in with the world, you don't get to do both. If you want to have the results, only 5% of the population has. You've got to be willing to think and behave like only 5% of the population. And if you do these kinds of things, the world will call you eccentric. This is where you got to develop the interior core, where it doesn't matter if people call you crazy. One of the things limiting you from your income, your impact. A world-class life, you care too much about what people think about you. Sounds really obvious. Everyone has an opinion. Why let the opinions of other people deny you from a life that will make history?
Says Steve Harvey, this is Tom Sober from the Comedy Caravan. This was a Thursday. He said, I have a gig in Jacksonville, Florida on Friday night that pays $150. If you can get there Friday night, you'll make $150. So I called him back and I said, hey, Tom, did you get a gig away? He said, no, it's still available. He said, can you get there? I said, I'm in Pensacola, Florida. I'm 3.5 hours away. So I drive to Jacksonville, Florida, and that night I made the 150. Club owner said, man, you funnier than the guy we hired. If you stay tomorrow night, I'm gonna give you another $150. I called Chuck Sutton. I said, hey man, is the gig still available at Showtime at the Apollo? He said, well, we got one opening left. I said, I'll be there. The Bible says, a man is as he thinketh. God created us in his image. God thought of this world. He thought of it. So he created it. So he made you just like him, that your thoughts can create things. He made you just like him. Now you can't go make earth and heaven like he did, but you can make a better world for yourself. There is a scripture, Habakkuk 2:2. It says, write the vision and make it plain, so that he who reads it will run to it. And even though it tarry means take a long time, wait for it, for surely it will come at an appointed time. That's in the Bible. That ain't in the rich people's copy. That's in everybody's Bible. The problem is everybody don't do it.
But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition and the next audition and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed and I prayed. But I continued to fail and fail and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break.
For those of us who get up and go out, you got something to say about how we do what we're doing. Stop talking to us who are performing. Stop telling us what to do and how to do it. You keep gossiping, and I'll keep working. You keep talking smack, and I'll keep working. You keep focusing on everyone else, and I'll keep working. And when you finally look around at where you are and where I'm at, you'll realize that you have nothing left to talk smack about. And you will lose and I will win. You don't have time to worry about anybody else's course, because it's going to take all your energy, all of your intensity, all of your fervency to keep yourself on track. That's why it's important for you to work on yourself, listening to tapes, building yourself up, talking to yourself with power, feeling, and conviction. Day in and day out, you've got to focus on you.
So I stayed out there. I did the warm-up and the hosting. And I created a bond with that audience. And that's how I got on TV. It was my very first TV show. I hosted Showtime at the Apollo. I ended up being the longest running host in the history of Showtime. I did that show for 8 years. See, in your life, everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you can go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind before you give up is that if you give up, the guarantee is it will never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it will never happen, no way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up no matter what.
The question is, why do we choose low value or low income or low impact producing activities instead of the high impact, high income, high value producing activities every single day? Well, the answer is twofold. Number one, it's because we've gotten into the habit of doing the small, menial, unimportant things first, thinking that being busy is the same as being productive. That's number one. Number two, in most cases, procrastination is caused by insecurity. Us either not knowing what steps to take, us not feeling like we are smart enough or good enough, or us feeling that we have to wait for everything to be perfect before we really get busy and do it. The truth of the matter is, those are all lies. They're rational lies, but they're all lies. What I want you to do from now on is every morning when you wake up, before you answer email, before you return any phone calls, make a short list of the 3 most important things that are either highest income for you or highest impact, meaning it's going to give you the biggest impact when you get that done on your productivity. So 3 things every day, and make a commitment, which means to cut off from any other option to get those 3 things done by 12 o'clock every day. When you develop that new habit, you will then become somebody who not only talks a big talk, which I hope you do, but you actually back it up with the actions required in order to achieve the success you want to achieve. What I've learned over a lot of years is that it's not the smartest people who achieve success. It's the people who procrastinate less, make fewer excuses as they take actions every day towards the goals that they want to achieve.
I want to talk about a principle today of affirmation, because I believe that people do best in an encouraging, affirming environment. I just do. Very seldom I've ever had a person say, let me tell you really how I achieved great success. I just was in a constant negative environment, and it just encouraged me so much, and it just stirred me on. Very seldom I've ever had somebody tell me that when people talk down to them, it just improved them. You see, encouragement, affirmation, it's the oxygen of the soul. It feeds us. It takes us and gives us hope. But Napoleon said leaders are all dealers in hope. And so the affirmation principle is very simple. I find something that you're doing well, and I use that to lead you. I use that as the starting place, and I look at you and say, hey, I like what you did there. Let's talk about it a little bit. Let's even talk about maybe how next time you can do it better. My friend Kim Blanchard made the phrase management by walking around kind of a popular phrase. And basically, he just said, walk through the office and catch somebody doing something good and point to it, affirm it, and build off of it. Now, there are people that do things that are not so good. And there are times in leadership you have to deal with the tough issues. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. People go farther, do better, and try harder in an affirming, encouraging environment. So the best that you can do is to constantly look for those good moments and make them better. That's what an affirming environment is all about. Looking for the good moments, making them better. Trust me, you do that a few times, and people will want you to walk around. They'll want you to catch them in their good moments, because they know that's where they'll get encouraged and that's where they'll get affirmed.
Every day, work for 5 hours, the 5 great hours concept, and then pull back and have fun, rest, renew. And then every week, take a weekend off. Every month, try to take a week off. Every year, try to take two months off. And the interesting thing is, number one, rest is the elite performer's secret weapon. Number two, this is so important. If you want to get more done, take more time off. Because if you're working 24/7 in a linear way versus like a pulse, what starts to happen is you erode and deplete your genius. And in my methodology, I teach the 5 assets of genius, including mental focus, physical energy, 3, personal willpower. But just remember, if all you do is work, you're going to empty your batteries. You're going to deplete your well. And that's why the smartest performers, the great athletes, the great industry titans, the great humanitarians, these people all have learned one thing: work in cycles. If you were to look at the great weightlifters of the Olympics, they all had one thing in common, and it was periodization. Periodization. And periodization simply means they worked, they exercised, and then they rested.
If I want to be confident, I must feel like I'm capable. If I want to feel capable, I must feel like I'm contributing. I must challenge myself. And as you also heard in previous videos, I had to be honest about my day and my schedule and my life, because I faced the end of my life. You know, I had that car accident as a young man that made me realize life is so short. And I always tell people, if you believe life is short, you probably believe life is precious, right? So you should be grateful for life, right? Well, I tell people all the time, you know where real gratitude shows up? Real gratitude shows up in your calendar. Because if you're really thankful for life, you're using your time well, my friend. If you really care about life, you use time well. But most people don't, so they're not getting progress. Because they're not getting progress, they don't feel that sense of accomplishment, achievement, contribution. Because they don't feel achievement, contribution, and progress, they feel down on themselves. They feel less worthy, less capable, and they trust in themselves and their future less because they're not making it happen. Confidence is not only your belief in your ability to figure things out. Confidence is that sense of your own worth, your own ability, your own future. And if you keep throwing away days, of course you don't feel amazing about yourself. So we got to get organized and disciplined, right? But think of how many people don't manage their life. I mean, dude, let's do some math together. You know, today, do you think maybe this morning, let's say before noon, you lost like 20 minutes of focus or productivity somewhere? You know, maybe you did something that wasn't really developing yourself, or wasn't something that needed to be creative, and you got distracted on some social media thing, or you know, maybe you weren't paying attention and you lost some time. Well, let's do some math. 20 minutes lost just in any given morning over the course of 7 days, well, that's 140 minutes, isn't it? 140 minutes is almost 2.5 hours. Well, over the course of 4 weeks, that's over 8 hours lost. Meaning you lost an entire 8-hour workday every month by just losing, 20 minutes in the morning. But you know, most people, they're losing more than that. Maybe they lose an hour in the morning. And if they lose an hour in the morning, that means they lost 4 work days per year. I mean, no, per month. 4 work days per month. Think about that. So people say, I don't have time or something. No, it's like when we don't use our time well, we're stealing from our own confidence. When we don't use our time well, we're stealing from our ability to serve. When we don't use our time well, we're not going to make that dent in the universe, change the world, and make more money for your family. You're going to be more disorganized. And because you're more disorganized, you're always last minute. Because you're last minute, you can't plan trips with your family and your friends. You don't plan your work and project as much. And I know it doesn't seem like so much, but I always tell people, your confidence is in your calendar, baby. Your confidence is in your calendar. Manage your calendar well, and progress comes in. It's like, oh, when you're doing things consistently that matter to you, your brain goes, hey, I had this intention, I'm doing it, I feel confident. So today I want you to decide to retake your agenda, your life schedule. What are some things you need to immediately stop doing in your life? They are time sunk, they are not passionate, they are not moving you forward, but you keep getting distracted there. Like, what do you need to stop doing? Is it watching 7 seasons of a show, every week? Is it like, what are you going to do to get your time back? Is it like minimizing the amount of, useless chit chat that doesn't add to anything in your life? Like, is it social media? Is it TV? Is it just not being organized? Like, what What do you need to stop doing to take back control of life? Also, what do you need to start doing? And what do you need to start doing every day, every week, every month, every year to be on your A game? As an example, many of you know, I personally fill out my high performance planner every single day. I create it for my greatest clients based off the world's largest study of high performers. And this is how they think in the morning. So I do all these mindset prompts so I get my mind right. Because in the morning, I don't know about you, I'm kind of a nutty professor in the morning. I'll like wander around and just like, what am I gonna do? And I'm a free spirit in the morning. But I had this one client one time, she's a really famous yoga teacher. And I was working with her and she said, well, Brent, I'd just like to be a free spirit in the morning. I said, yeah. I said, is there anything, in your life that you wish you could do, but you can't do because you're so busy? Oh yeah, there's this yoga retreat coming up. I don't have any time for it. I said, oh, poor free spirit, don't have time for a yoga retreat? Well, maybe you would have time for a yoga retreat if you organize yourself a little bit in the morning. Because see, discipline buys you freedom to do what you want. So confidence is in the calendar. Like take back your life and get a little more organized and you have more free time. Get a little more organized, you serve better. Serve better, make more money. Like these things all add together. I know you know that.
Think big, because then you're going to get big. Then you're going to go and achieve big things. That is the most important thing. We don't achieve big things by accident. So shoot for the top, shoot for the sky, shoot for the, for the stars. All of those liabilities that they talked about started turning into assets. When I did Conan the Barbarian, the director came to me and he said, if we wouldn't have you, we would have had to build one. And on Terminator, the director said, I couldn't imagine to have anyone play Terminator that wouldn't have an accent and that wouldn't have your body. I cannot imagine the line, I'll be back, with a normal American accent. It works so perfectly that you have this German accent. So all of those things that they say the liabilities became an asset. As moment went on, it grew and grew, and I went from one movie to the next, started making more and more money, and then I ended up being the highest paid actor with $30 million on Terminator 3. The other thing is that you get to work your butt off. If you think that you're going to go and accomplish something really special and be the best in anything in the world, and you think you can do it without working, you make a big mistake. Because no matter what I did, if it was in bodybuilding or in acting or if it is in the political arena, it always took a lot of work. And you got to put out, and you got to, sometimes make a lot of sacrifices. Notice, if you're not willing to work hard, forget about it. So there's another rule that is very important. Use your power of potential and make this nation and this world a better place. It worked for this immigrant that came over here to this country with $20 in the pocket. And I know and I guarantee you it will work for you too. Don't be afraid to fail. Because if you're afraid to fail, then you're always holding yourself back because you're afraid that if you go all out, you may fail. Well, in weightlifting, we learned that very quickly. The only way you could break a record is if you're willing to fail. That's when you put on more weight, you try it. Sometimes you will not be able to lift it, which has happened to me many times. But eventually, when you train hard enough, you will lift it. So don't be afraid to fail. I mean, how far can you fall? That just shows you again so much for it can't be done. This is why I try to tell you, anything and everything can be done if you can visualize it and if you believe in yourself. It was the same thing again when I ran for governor. You can imagine when I went on the Tonight Show and I announced that I'm going to run for governor of the great state of California. People came to me afterwards and said, you're crazy. You don't announce something like this on the Tonight Show. You have an official press conference at the state capitol. Plus, you don't start with governorship, you start first with mayor or with state senator. And I said, I don't want to be senator, I don't want to be mayor, I want to be governor. Don't you understand that? Well, the rest is history. I won in 2003 and I won also in 2006. Let me tell you, you're going to find the naysayers in every turn that you make. Don't listen. Just visualize your goal, know exactly where you want to go. Trust yourself. Get out there and work like hell and break some of the rules and never, ever be afraid of failure.
experiencing pain in your muscles and aching, and just then go on and go on and then go on. And this last 2 or 3 or 4 repetitions, that's what makes actually the muscle then grow. And that divides then one from a champion and one from not being a champion. If you can go through this pain barrier, you make it to be a champion. If you can't go through, forget it. And that's where most people lack, is on this having the guts to go in and just say, I go through and I don't care what happens. You know, it aches, and if I fall down, I have no fear of fainting in a gym, because I know it could happen. I threw up many times while I was working out, but it doesn't matter because it's all worth it.
Everyone has a problem with time, but the day has 24 hours and we sleep 6. Now, I know there's some out there that say, whoa, I need 8. Well, I say just sleep a little faster, because the bottom line is we have 6 hours of sleep, 24 hours are available, so you have 18 hours now available to your work, your family, your hobbies, and also to learn something new or to do something new, which could easily be that you want to learn a new language, or that you want to read as a New Year's resolution, have to read a book every week, or you say, I'm going to go and reshape my body. So you're going to go and take this hour out of your schedule and say, I'm going to train an hour every day. So this is, for most people, a huge challenge, but it is totally doable, I can tell them, because the kind of things that I did when I came to this country, I mean, I went to school, I was working in construction, I was working out my 5 hours a day, I was taking acting classes from 8 o'clock at night to 12 midnight. I was doing all of those things. I wanted to make sure that out of the 24 hours of the day, that I don't waste one single hour. Those hours were too precious. And so there I just want to tell people, don't give me this thing, I have a difficult time with the time and I don't have time for this and I don't have that. You have time, you make the time.
I had this need of coming to America. I mean, when I started learning about America at the age of 10, and we got geography lessons and learned about America and about and so the first photographs, I remember, there's photos in the textbook, but also in Super 8mm film footage that they showed in the classroom, you know, about the Golden Gate Bridge and the Empire State Building and the 6-lane highways and all this. I said, what am I doing here in Austria with these little roads? I want to go over there and I want to be part of the big deal. And so I had always this desire, and I felt like that the only way I ever would get to America, because in those days it wasn't common that you buy yourself a ticket, that no one could afford that. So I had to kind of accomplish something big that takes me to America. And then when I read about this guy, Reg Park, who won Mr. Universe 3 times and then became a star in Hercules movies, and then was in Italy filming and then in Hollywood filming, I felt that could be the ticket. I should become Mr. Universe. I should become kind of a second Reg Park. Of course, no one really bought into that. My parents thought I was totally insane. And I remember that I hung up pictures above my bed, you know, for inspiration, pictures of Reg Park in his posing trunks and all that. My mother was so concerned, she called the local doctor and she had him analyze the wall because she thought that there's something terribly wrong, that I have naked men above my bed, and all of my buddies had women hanging above their bed, and so she was concerned about that. And but they just, I think that my parents really thought that there was something terribly wrong of being that driven, you know, because I would come home at lunchtime, and then instead of having lunch, I would do 200 sit-ups, and then at night I would go to the stadium and I would be lifting weights. I would come home at 10 o'clock at night and I would be continuing lifting weights. So it was like one of this insanity in the military. I would continue lifting weights no matter how the training was and how tough the basic training was. I would always then lift weights afterwards. And as a tank driver, I would have on the side of the tank in the toolbox, I would have my weights, my barbells, my dumbbells, and my exercise bench and everything there in order to be at any given time, if we stopped driving the tank and maneuvers at 2 a.m, I would be able to pull out my weights and again lift for 2 hours my weights. So I was really a fanatic about the whole thing, but it's the only way you really get where the way I succeeded, because I became at the age of 20 the youngest Mr. Universe in London,
in the history of bodybuilding, because the youngest before then was Reg Park, the guy I was talking about, with the age of 24, that I became the youngest with 20, but it was because I was like so serious about the whole thing, and it worked. With the age of 21, after I won my second Mr. Universe title, I got an invitation from Joe Weider, who was the publisher of all the muscle magazines in America, and also the person that had the biggest warehouses of weight training equipment and had food supplement companies and all this. And he brought me to America, and so there I was. I mean, 6 years after my dream started, I was in America. I think it's the most important thing that we have a very clear vision of where we go, a goal, where do we go? Because you can have the best ship in the world, you can have the best cruise liner, but if the captain does not know where to go, that ship will drift around the world and out there at sea and will never end up anywhere. And this is exactly the way it is in real life. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a vision, you just drift around and you're not going to be happy. This is why it is so important to have that vision. Now, I created that vision in Austria because I grew up after the Second World War. Austria, right along with Germany, lost the Second World War, thank God. And the problem was that everyone was so depressed because they lost the war, that there was alcoholism everywhere. There was, of course, depression. There was a terrible economic situation. There was famine. There was starvation and all of those things. And also it was kind of a little place and narrow. I felt I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to escape. And I couldn't see myself really to work there and to stay there, to work in a factory, or to work on a farm, or to even to follow my father's footsteps and to become a police officer. I couldn't see that either. As a matter of fact, that's what my parents wanted me to do. They wanted me to become a police officer and to marry a girl by the name of Heidi and to have a bunch of children and to run around like the Von Trapp family in The Sound of Music. But that's not what I saw. This was the vision of my parents, but not mine. And luckily, one day in school, I watched a documentary about America. And I found myself, I knew exactly that is where I wanted to end up. I wanted to be in America. But I tell you that I was very fortunate that I had great heroes. I had great heroes that I could look up to. And I mentioned two of them, Muhammad Ali and Sergeant Shriver, my father-in-law. But there's other great heroes like Gorbachev, Reagan, Mandela, great leaders like Mother Teresa, Chancellor Kohl, and Churchill, and the list goes on and on. I mean, those people had such an impact on the world. Single-handedly, they've changed the world. We all can create change, whether it is in our neighborhood or in our local schools or in our country. It can be big, but it can also be as little as just going to a school kid that has problems reading and teaching that kids how to read or how to do math. We don't have to just work on me. We should also work on we. Not just me, but also we. Remember that. To lead a truly full life, you must give back. You must leave the world a better place than you found it. Because the bottom line is, it is up to us. I mean, those rules that I've given you are important rules, but giving back is one of the most important rules.
Your gift can be anything. You can't look at it as simply running, jumping, singing.